Hello and welcome to Howl Like an Alpha. Ow! Oh yeah, we are on episode number 4. Hope everybody's doing great out there tonight. At least this is when I'm recording it. Yeah, these are pre-recorded. All my other shows that I do on YouTube are live, but I'm going to build the audience first before I go live on this platform. And then once I go live, we'll be doing live chat boards and we'll be doing call-ins. It'd be really great stuff, you know. I think we got a lot of stuff to talk about out there, especially when it comes to relationship stuff, when it comes to battling the world right now of all the things they're teaching us in the social media and the media outlets. It's a lot of toxic stuff, a lot of stuff that's not working too well for most of us. So we will, visit a lot of that stuff and try to get our minds and our our mind, body, and soul, so to speak, in the right place, in the right plane of thinking, so that we can be red pilled and see through the matrix and see the uncomfortable truths out there, right? Because really, what it's all about is the uncomfortable truths versus the comfortable lies, right? And that's what we live every day, is the comfortable lie. We don't want to tell ourselves the truth, and the mainstream is not telling us the truth. So this is what you get. You get these really tough divorce rates. We get these really tough relationships that don't work too well. Men and women don't know their roles anymore. And we've got a lot of mishmash of every kind of thing going on out there, every kind of misinformation, things that are leading us down the completely wrong paths as human beings. We came from the land, we came from tribes, and we came from family and togetherness, community, trusting one another, and a much different way of having relationships, so to speak. So what we're doing now with the new age, the social media age, think about how quickly we've moved into the social media age. Social media really hasn't been around since 2008. So it really has just busted on the scene. We have no idea, no skills developed to deal with this kind of stuff. So we are trying our best to navigate these lands that we're not even built for right now. So this is what's going on. If you want to check out some of my links, you can find that in the description, my link tree. You can find all my different things, the book I wrote. I'm working on a second book right now as we speak, and that's going really well. It's I'm really cracking down into some of my memories and reliving some of the events in my life, and wow, that's a trip, man. That's a trip, going down those things. So I'm very excited to bring that book to the public. I think it's going to be a really neat read. It's going to really go deep into the psychology of what happens, the neediness, the ego, the wants, the desires, and the things we'll do just for keeping somebody around, or how we put pussy on a pedestal, so to speak. How we lower ourselves down, take away all of our hobbies, all of the things we like to do just for somebody else to like us or to stay happy. So there's a lot to unfold in that book, and I'm looking forward to releasing that in, I don't know, a couple months or so. We'll see how it goes. So also, I do other shows. If you're into controversy, I do the Rise Up Radio Show. That's on Sunday mornings on YouTube. And then I also do a couples therapy show with my wife. So we have fun with that. It's more of an entertainment and comedy show more than it is like a really serious couples therapy show. But we do dive into some topics pretty deeply. But we have a chat board. We have a lot of fun with the fans, and we usually have a lot of fun jokes and inside innuendos and all those type of things. So it's good stuff. That's on every other Monday, and then I also do the Power Hour, which is a sister show to the Rise Up Radio Show, which is an hour evening show. So got a lot on my plate, doing a lot of stuff. Also writing a book, have a full-time job, and do coaching on the side. If you're interested in one-on-one coaching, I do professional dating and lifestyle coaching. So if you want to check that out, it's in the links. You can email me at revolutionalphacoaching@gmail.com is how you get a hold of me. And you can also I have a website out there too, so you can check that out. But that's all in the links on the link tree. So check that out. All right. So when we're talking about howl like an alpha, right? What are we talking about? Well, we want to get into we want to get out of the blue pill way of thinking, right? And what's the blue pill way of thinking? That's what society has taught us to think, how to think, what to think, filling our head with all kinds of ideas. I mean, you look at even childhood Disney movies, right? And the way they look at relationships, the movies that are out there, right? The rom-coms and all those type of things, there's a lot of stuff out there that fills our head with information that doesn't transfer into the reality of what we live in, the world we live in. So, we have to be careful when we read these books, when we watch these movies, when we watch these TV shows, where they make the man look like a bumbling idiot, like a Tim Allen, right? He's the idiot of the family and the woman just makes fun of the idiot, those type of things where, it paints a picture and we don't realize, but subconsciously it does affect us on some level. And we have to be careful not to fall prey to the media, and especially social media now. I mean, you look at social media and you have girls out there, right, who are making millions of dollars just off their body, right? Just showing their body parts. They're making millions of dollars. So we're talking the OnlyFans pages, right? The Instagram models, right? Those type of things. We have a lot of things out there where pretty girls are making a ton of money. They're making more money than a typical guy who maybe busts his rear end going to work every single day, 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week, blood, sweat, and tears, left at work, works his 30-year career. And you have this other girl over here in 1 year makes more than he makes in his entire career, just by going on fans only page. So, we got a really strange world right now out there. And, how do you make money in this navigating of the world, right? Is it the typical way of going out there and putting in a hard day's work? Or is it, getting on YouTube and being Bat Dad, right? Batman Dad. And running around scaring his wife and saying I'm Batman and making a bunch of money off of people watching the video and laughing and making fun of him and getting sponsors, right? And he probably make more money than a guy going to work every day for an entire year. He makes that in a month. So there's a lot of strange things, strange aspects to this world right now. So that's the blue pill world we live in, right? The things that are going on, we don't know how to navigate it right now. It's a very difficult, strange world. Relationships are strange, even between family members now with political stuff going on. That's divided families up. We've got the COVID situation with the masking up and the rules, and you're not allowed to really socialize much anymore. So that's really changed a lot of people's, lifestyles. I know it's changed me and my wife's lifestyle. We loved going out and socializing, and going out, doing some dancing, doing a little bit of drinking, seeing some great live bands. That was one of our favorite things to do, and so we've been limited in that aspect too. So it really changed the dynamic of our relationship, and we had to adjust. But a lot of people are just struggling to stay happy in this world right now. It's a very difficult world. So how do you get yourself out of the blue pill way of living and get into the alpha or the red pill way of living, right? To really see the uncomfortable truths. And then once you have seen the uncomfortable truths and accepted them, then you're able to start moving forward in your life and finding success, right? And not falling victim to the victim lifestyle, not falling to the victimhood lifestyle, and actually taking life by the balls and start to create and chase greatness, right? That's what you're looking to do. And in order to do that, you have to have a very confident attitude, right? A confident, happy, positive, I'm getting there no matter what attitude. And one of the secrets to success, at least I've found, is to not tell very many people about your goals. Keep those goals to yourself and quietly accomplish them until you find yourself ahead of the game. Because in this world right now, if you try to say that you want to do something, you want to go out and be successful, you want to, conquer the world, people are going to tell you that you can't do it. That's their first thing out of their mouth is going to be, well, how are you going to do that? You can't do that. It's not possible. You can't do that. There's going to be a million ways they're going to tell you you can't do it. And that's not really them talking. It's more the ego. It's more that their self-esteem. People like to tell you you're not going to be a success because it makes them feel better about their life. Because if they're not going out and trying to do that, they don't want you going out and trying to do that. That means they got to look themselves in the mirror and say to themselves, what am I doing? What am I doing in my life? They don't want to do that. They don't want to go through that pain in the ass. So they're going to tell you that you just can't do it. And that's easy. That's an easy way out. It's just, you can't do it. So, when we talk about being alpha, we got to find out who we are, number one. That's got to be the biggest thing, right? You got to go on your journey to figure out who you are, right? Who is Greg on this screen, right? How did I end up on this microphone right now in front of you guys talking about the alpha revolution, right? How did I get here? And it was a long road. I had no idea that I would be public speaking like this, that I'd be a voice of reason on YouTube or on podcast or wherever. And I just happened to end up at a party, and it was one of those last minute decisions to go to this party. I had just met this group of people, and he invited me and my wife to the party. I don't think she was my wife at the time, though. And we decided to go in the last minute, but we could only stay for so long because we had other things to do afterwards. So we fit it in. So we went over to this stranger's person's house, right? Because we only really knew them very little. And we met Jaron, who is one of the co-hosts on the Rise Up Radio show. We met Jaron Kenyon, and he's a life coach. He's a traveling life coach, and he is a manifestation teacher, all those type of things. Just getting your mind in the right spot to create success in your life. And he introduced me and my wife to just a whole nother realm of possibility. So at the time, I had just started a little bit of a podcast, right? I decided to do some fitness and health podcasts because I had been watching Ben Greenfield and a couple other people and listening to their podcast. And I was like, well, let me try, let me get a microphone and try to get on the air and do a little podcast. So I was only like maybe 2 or 3 episodes in at that point, and I met Jaron. And I told him about the podcast, and I said, well, maybe you want to be a big guest on the podcast. I don't know. But he had a lot of really cool stuff to say. So I was like, man, I'd like to, interview him or do something with him. And I remember we were talking for quite a while, and I looked at him and I said, me and you are going to do something together. I just know it. I can feel it, right? And you have that confidence when you first meet somebody, and it just feels like you guys were meant to be together. Maybe it's not necessarily a soulmate, or it's not necessarily an attractive other opposite sex, right, or whatever. It's just maybe even a friendship, or maybe a business partner, something like that. But whoever they are to you, maybe it's a guru, right? You meet some older gentleman and he's got a lot of wisdom to teach you, and you want to, be underneath his tutelage, right? And to be able to understand what he knows and to work with him. But, in that moment, I just knew it was like this major intuition, spidey sense was going off, right? That this person, it wasn't a fake, hey, I'll see you again sometime, and you never talk to them again or whatever. This was one of those things where I really knew that I was going to be working with this guy. So it wasn't too long before I brought him on my podcast. And again, it wasn't video yet. And I was just learning the business, and I really wasn't a good speaker. I wasn't really a good interviewer. I wasn't very good, well prepared. There was a lot of things that weren't great, and I was just using a little room in my house for the podcast. It wasn't anything special. But we started off, doing a show together, and it was only going to be a one-time thing. And then we started doing once a month. He would come on with a guest. He'd bring a guest with him. And then it just turned into a full-time thing, eventually. And then we started doing other kind of business together. We were doing a couple of stage shows together before COVID hit, and stuff like that. So we really, and now we're working together on the Rise Up Radio Show every week, and putting out some great content over there. And so, you never know how these things are going to work, but fate would have it that you meet that person, right, that helps catapult your career. But if you're not willing to go out and put yourself out there and tell people what you're about, or have an identity, or have a passion in your life yet, then you're probably not going to run into those type of people. Me and Jaron would have never connected if I didn't have a podcast that I had just started. And, it was one of those things where I was listening to podcasts. I was loving the information. I had a lot of stuff to contribute as well to the world. And I was like, man, do I do this or don't I? And I just went on Amazon and I put a microphone in my cart, just a simple USB microphone. And I ordered it. And a week later, I'm recording a podcast, and then I put it up on Apple iTunes. And so there was the birth of my podcast. But it was one of those things where I was like, hey, what the heck? I'm going to try it. I'm going to give this a try. I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know if I'm going to embarrass myself, but I'm going to give it a try. And now I'm hundreds and hundreds of episodes into this type of stuff. So it just goes to show you that, you have to push life. You have to go for the things that may not work out. You can't always go for the sure bet. You got to take chances. You got to find your passions. Did I know that speaking was my passion? I did not. But Jaron really pushed me because he was a public speaker. He had spoken in front of 10,000 or more people. He's a good person on stage. He's a great speaker. And I just learned underneath him. They always say that you need to surround yourself with smarter people than you. Be the dumbest person in the room is the better room to be in, because you get to know and learn so much more, especially if you're humble enough to learn. And so I was, met this guy who had skills that I didn't have, and he gave me the skills to go and speak publicly and to be confident about it, and to feel like this was my passion and my life drive. So, it's one of those things where with life, you need to continue to grow. You can't graduate high school or graduate college and say, okay, I'm done growing, I'm done learning, that's it for me. I had a therapist when I was in college. I had some mental stuff going on. So I got a therapist. And guy's name was Dr. Matt. I don't remember his last name. It was very long, but he had me call him Dr. Matt. But one of the things Dr. Matt taught me was he said that you need to continue to learn every day of your life, every year of your life. Just continue to grow and learn. Learn, learn, learn. Go after whatever you want it to be, whatever hobby, whatever thing you really like to do in life. But learn. So I continue to learn every day of my life. And especially nowadays with technology on YouTube and everywhere else, you can learn so much stuff. It's like time traveling. Because, somebody 100 years ago, they were learning something, it took them a year to learn something, right? Let's say. For us, it takes us 10 minutes compared to their year. So think about how fast we're moving through time if we're able to learn that fast, that much faster. Very interesting. To a person 100 years ago, we'd look like aliens right now. We got phones. We're looking at our phone for every answer, right? What do you do at a party or in front of your family when someone has a question about something and you go, gotta Google it, and like 4 people go on their phone and start typing it in. So, that's just part of where we live now, and you have to take advantage of it, right? Same with dating, right? You gotta get with the times. You gotta get on the apps. You gotta do the work through the apps, right? You gotta do the work of building yourself up on social media, on those platforms. Instagram is the hugest and best one for dating, okay? So if you're out there and you're trying to meet people, build your Instagram up, your Instagram page. Put great pictures on there, right? If you're a man, go out and hire a photographer. You can go on to like things like Airbnb experience, right? And you can go and hire a student photographer, right? Maybe $100. Go out there, bring a bunch of outfits with you. They know the lighting, they know the places to best shoot you, and take some nice professional photos. And then pick out of the hundreds of photos the ones that work and put like 3 or 4 of them up online. It's going to make a huge difference for you. And so what happens is, if you're talking to somebody on, Plenty of Fish or wherever, or you meet somebody out somewheres, whatever it is, give them your Instagram. They'll love that because they get to investigate who you are and they get to see what your life is like because you're going to have your hobbies up there. You're going to have maybe a friend photo, a photo with friends. Maybe you're going to have a couple of your maybe a car up there that you drive or whatever it might be, You're going to have things in your life that make sense, that makes you, right? Maybe it's working out, all those type of things. And that's what people are going to want to see. They're going to see the little bit of a cliff notes of who you are. And it's going to make them a little bit more confident about you. It's going to make you a little bit more valuable in their head, in their minds, right? Than the other guy who just gave them their number. Or the other guy who only has like 2 pictures up and they're both fishing pictures, These are going to be the photos that are going to be the story that's going to be inside of her head or his head, depending. And it's going to make you more valuable. They're going to make space for you. You're going to be renting space in their head because of the things they saw, because of the confidence they have in who you are as a person. So just a tip there. So, all right. I want to move on to a video, okay, a couple of videos here on TikTok. If nobody's got TikTok, you don't know what you're missing here. It absolutely baffles me how Hang on one second. He's a little loud. But this girl over here, I've been watching her for a while now. And she's very interesting. She is a men's advocate. So her handle is right now May B Chloe Roma. Okay, so MayBechloEroma. She used to be just Roma Army, but now she had to, I think she got taken down. So she had to make a new one. But this girl right here, she's a man advocate. Okay, she sees some of the imbalances right now. I mean, again, I talked about this on other shows where what we do with good intentions, right? Like the saying is a goody two shoes can be a problem too, and like the person who is trying to tell you who can climb the best, and they take the fish out of the water and say, okay, climb, and obviously a fish can't climb, right? So there's just things that happen, right? The extremes of things, right? The goody two shoes who wanted to try to make it better for women out there have now, it's so extreme now, it's made it very difficult for men, right? Look at the family court systems, the divorce system, all those type of things. It's a very scary place for a man to be, and women wonder why men doesn't want to commit, right? Why don't men commit? Because it's a very scary place. It's like throwing yourself in a ocean water that has sharks in it. You never know when a shark might bite you, because you watch your friends go through it. You hear stories other places about it. You hear stories at work about guys who just, their lives were destroyed by divorce or whatever, or child support or whatever else, And I'm not saying that, I mean, I'm raising my son. I was a single dad for a very long time before I met my wife. And I've always done my responsibilities, but I can't say it was, at first the system wasn't that fair. It was a very difficult, challenging time in my life. It was very, very stressful. But I'm really glad the way things worked out. But it was a very stressful time. It was very hard. So let's take a look at Roma here and see what she has to say. Very interesting girl.
Absolutely baffles me how society has the nerve to sit there and be like, why aren't more men wanting to get married? Becky, look at the things we're teaching them. Happy wife, happy life. Sounds like some servant type life. If the wedding ring isn't at least 3 months of your salary, don't even bother proposing. That wedding day, that's her special day. Oh, and don't forget that if you have kids, if the wife leaves, so do the kids. Like, come on, Becky. Most of us women won't even commit to something that doesn't have a protection plan. How appealing does that sound to you? Prenups, gentlemen. Prenups. That's your protection policy. Ladies, we can't sit here and think, why aren't men wanting to commit? Oh.
Yeah, so TikTok's only a minute or so videos. But let's dissect that one real quick, and then I have another one. But she brings up a lot of those videos like that, and she talks a lot about the unfairness to men. It just needs to be balanced out in other ways, and I think this has made the dating scene and the divorce rates and everything else go very high. Obviously, social media, I've talked about this before, about the options, how easy it is at your fingertip to find somebody else that's got higher value or looks a little better, or whatever. You're flirting with the DJ, on social media, and then the next thing you know, you're in his bed. So these are the things that are so easy to do, right? You don't even have to get dressed up. You don't have to take 4 hours of getting dressed up and put your makeup on and get out to the club to see the DJ. The DJ's right there on your screen, right? They're all doing these at-home DJ parties right now because they can't do clubs so much. So they're trying to build up their fan base that way, and so you're just doing it right in your fingertips. Right there is how a woman could potentially flirt with a DJ. So, these are the things that are so simple now. You could be sitting on your couch doing that. And so everything's so warped right now. And, you have men who are literally scared to death of getting into a committed relationship because of, number one, getting a girl pregnant, and then having to deal with not only the child support and not only trying to have a separated household and trying to be a father on his own for the first time, maybe ever in his life, but also dealing with control issues. And this goes both ways. I've seen it both ways, believe me. But let's just talk about the side of the man versus the woman. They, like I said, either party can do this, but they look at you like they can sink their teeth in you like a vampire because they've got you by the balls. We have a kid together. You pay me child support. I get to tell you what to do with, if what you're doing wrong. If the kid comes home with a bruise, if the kid doesn't get his homework done over there, then I get to bitch you out. I get to tell you you're an asshole. And, this goes on for 18 freaking years, 21 years, whatever it is, who knows? But I've said this in previous episodes. The baby mama and the baby dada drama is the most toxic thing in society right now. It is all about control and ego. And this is when you get to have full control over the other and tell them what a scumbag they are and how bad they are and what a bad father or bad mother you are. You did this wrong. You did that wrong. I'm calling the cops on you. I'm going to court. We are going to hash this out. You're going to jail. I mean, on and on and on it goes. I've sat in family court. I don't do it much anymore, but I've sat in family court. The one year I went 11 times, and sitting there watching the people parade in and out of there in their sweatpants that say juicy on the back, in their slippers, coming to court in slippers, and shirts that are stained and hair that's all a mess. I was like, wow, this is what family court's about, huh? And it doesn't seem much about the kids, does it? Doesn't seem like it's designed for the kids. So it's unfortunate, but these are the imbalances going on right now, and they're scary. They're definitely scary. So let me grab the other video from Roma.
All right. So let me.
Okay. And she's ready. Take a listen.
Get this right, okay? His child support is paid, his lawyer bills are paid, his court fees are paid, his mortgage or rent, late, his utilities, late, his phone bill, late, his loans are maxed out, his pantry and his fridge is empty, and his credit is absolutely ruined. And he's the deadbeat? Huh? No. Here's the reality. Mothers are 100% privileged over fathers in society. Now, I'm not talking about women versus men. I'm talking about mothers versus fathers. Is childcare unaffordable? Yes, it's also unaffordable for fathers. But I think one of the biggest issues that a lot of dads who are being alienated from their kids face isn't just the fact that society is designed for them to fail, or the fact that the courts aren't designed to protect them. It's the fact that as moms, we can go on the internet and say whatever we want and nobody questions it. So again, who's the deadbeat?
All right. And there's the second video by Roma. Thank you, Roma. Again, you can follow her on TikTok. She's really neat. And, I know people are going to want to argue the other side of it, and I get it. There is another side, of course. But, like even in a relationship, right? You go out with your buddy, you listen to his side of the story about his relationship falling apart. And then, let's say your wife goes out with his other struggling half, and she tells her side of the story. And you go home and you compare stories, and they don't match, right? They don't match. So that happens too. But the deal is, we have to understand what's going on here. When you put men in fear, and I understand there is deadbeat dads, of course there is. I understand there's things that have happened in many instances where it wasn't fair to the woman. Absolutely. And Roma gets attacked. Believe me, she gets attacked hard. And God bless her for putting herself out there and trying to do her point of view and her philosophy, because it's not an easy thing to do. But, one of the things is we have to also see the compassion for the other side. I remember I had a girlfriend, and I met her mother, and her mother worked as a manager someplace. And then I met her father, who had been separated from the mother. And he was paying alimony and child support to 2 kids. And I saw where he lived. It was in a hotel, like a strip hotel, kind of junky, trashy. Lived with a buddy. He couldn't even afford the hotel, the 1-bedroom hotel room by himself to rent it for the month. And so he had to have a buddy move in with him. And they had to do, and maybe his buddy was in the same situation. They were helping each other out. But that's what happened to the dad. And the mom was still living in that house. She was still working her job, and she was still raising her 2 kids. He was seeing the kids every once in a great while. They didn't really want to spend too much time with them because he didn't really live in a very good place. And, the best place to sit with them is maybe at Stewart's and have a coffee, because that's all he can afford. So he didn't have much options. And that's some of the stories you see out there. And it's a very sad situation. And then men become very fearful of ever getting into a marriage, or very fearful of ever having kids in their life. And that's a sad thing, because, we have women out there who are telling other women, you go, girl. You can do it all on your own. You don't need no man, right? So you got that against you as well. So it's a very complex thing right now in the dating scene. And women wonder why men don't like to commit. They wonder why men take so long to commit, right? I mean, I've been on first dates or second dates where they're saying to me they want to have a baby and get married. And I'm like, whoa, let's just see if we get along. Let's see if we make it to the next holiday, for Pete's sake. Let's pump those brakes. I ain't ready for any of that talk, any of that discussion. That's just a major red flag for any man out there right now. You have to protect yourself. And that's just the pure facts about it. And it's unfortunate that it has to be that way. But hey, listen, this is the reality. This is the uncomfortable truth, right? It's not the comfortable lie. It's the real uncomfortable truth. You have to understand that when you are out there in the jungle and really looking through the matrix and swallowing the red pill, that you're seeing the uncomfortable truth. And the uncomfortable truth is that a man needs to protect himself. And I'm not talking from the lady's point of view, of course. I'm not a woman. I haven't been through woman experiences like that on their side. I've only been through my experiences as a man and my dating scene and my marriage and the things I've seen with my friends, right? And I've also seen, I've had girlfriends who were very good friends of mine, right? There was nothing but platonic between us. And the one had a husband, and she had to divorce him at a very young age because all he did was sit on the video games all day long and would not go out and get a job, would not get dressed, would not shower, would not eat all day long because he was so obsessed with video games. Obviously, major mental problems there, right? Something he had to work through. And he wasn't working through it in that marriage. He was just comfortable where he was, and it ain't working that way. So, there's that situation on that side. But what I'm talking about right now is the way society is designed. The things we've been taught, the blue pill information that's out there at all times. It's taken away our roles as man and woman. I'm not saying a woman shouldn't be independent. But what I'm saying is you have to do a balance, right? Man and woman are supposed to complement each other. We're supposed to dance in harmony together, so to speak. And when there's such a difference in philosophy, when a woman walks into a relationship that she don't need no man, that she makes her own living and she don't need no man, and that a man's no good, well, guess how that relationship's going to work out? It ain't going to work out too well. And, so we have to understand. We have to dive deep into the actual factual truths of the nature of what is going on right now in society. And that's about becoming the alpha, right? And a woman can become an alpha too. She can become red pilled. She can understand. She can understand a man. She can understand a role that she can play that is going to best suit a relationship, a long-term relationship, or a marriage. We have to understand what our roles can be and how we can better complement one another and how we can better make it safe for one another, right? Because who wants to go through a relationship always in fear that it could change our life for the worst for a very, very long time because we made one mistake, because we gave in too much, because we kept on going back to that same person that kept on being toxic to us over and over and over. We just kept going back. It had to have more, right? So all these things are very complicated issues, and we're going to keep on unwrapping them, and we're going to keep on finding skills and ways of working through them. Like I said, I'm writing my book right now, and I'm really excited to start presenting that to the public in probably 2-3 months down the road. And I'm going to try to implement a lot of the chapters into this podcast itself. But for now, thank you everybody for joining us for our 4th episode of Howl Like an Alpha. I hope everybody enjoyed this episode and learned a little something. And we'll see you next time. Go check out my Linktree. See if you want to buy my first book that I ever wrote. And we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks, everybody.